I thought I had seen Jaws, and me and Jason are having this conversation, and he goes, I was like, yeah, Jaws with LL Cool J, and he was like,
no, that's Deep Blue.
No,
Deep Blue Sea.
Deep Blue Sea. He's like, Jaws came out in like 1976. And I was like, no, it didn't. It had LL Cool J in it. And I had to look it up, and it turns out I've never seen Jaws. I've seen Deep Blue 6, and I thought it was Jaws my whole life.
Welcome to Don't Quit Your Day Job, where three friends run their mouths on the internet. Let's get started.
Hi, guys. Welcome back to our channel, Don't Quit Your Day Job. How's everyone doing?
Doing good.
Doing pretty good. Survived the tornadoes.
Yes.
Yeah. Glad we're past those for a few days.
Yeah, I know. Spring here in the South is super fun.
I had to do my call today for my pre-op, so that was weird. So for our listeners, I'm getting a hysterectomy this week. So by the time you listen to this, I'll have had a hysterectomy. And I've never really had a surgery. I've never stayed in the hospital before. Anything that I've had has always been outpatient. So I'm like, oh, this is weird. They were really interested. The nurse who called was really interested in my essential tremor. She was like, oh, and when she was doing my family or my history, and she got my, when she did my family history, and I said, oh, well, my dad I was like, mine's a familial tremor. I have it, I get that from my dad. He has an essential tremor, but he also has MS. And she was like, but you don't have an MS diagnosis? And I was like, no, thank God. Let's fingers crossed that's not coming. So, but otherwise, I got to be there at the crack of dawn, and thank goodness for my pal Christina, who also works from home. She's going to drive me to the hospital on Thursday. We got to be there at 5 a.m.
Yeah, we got to be there early.
Hold on one second. I forgot my headphones.
Papa, can you hear me?
Not yet. Well, I can, but not through my headphones. Okay. Motopods. All right. Y'all say something.
Hello.
Okay. All right. We're there. We're ready.
It was your mom's 70th birthday this weekend, correct, Julia?
It was my mom's 70th birthday. It was good. She's never really had a party. My mom is an introvert, sort of like me, but she had a lot of fun. So, our longtime neighbor, my whole life, Walt, came over for it. And then, my dad's best friend, who I've always called my Uncle Pat and his wife Carol came over. And then Grandma, who's 90 this year. So Grandma came with Aunt Sharon and Uncle John. So, and then Catherine and Joel and the girls were there. So lots of fun. And yesterday was Easter for our listeners, as of the time we're recording this. So my nieces are 7 and 6, and they were super excited to wake up to the Easter Bunny, having been to Nana and Paca's house. And the Easter Bunny hid eggs inside for them, since we had some not so great weather. But they were very excited. Gwen woke up and came out, and she was like, Dad, there's Easter eggs everywhere. And he said, well, go tell your sister. And she ran and was like, the Easter Bunny came. And so that was real fun. They ran around the house hunting Easter eggs. They were like, well, we don't have our baskets. We were like, maybe the Easter Bunny thought of that. Maybe he knew you were going to be at Anna and Paca's house. And so the Easter Bunny left their buckets. So they were running around the house. It was so cute.
That's so cute. I feel like in our family, we're like in the lull stage right now. So the littles are too little really to like understand the bunny and the Easter and all that. And Monster is way out of it. He's beyond it. And then Buster and Peanut are like right there on the cusp. Like they didn't even go check out their Easter baskets until I was like, did y'all see that the bunny came? And they were like, huh? Like they didn't even go check out the Easter. They were less enthusiastic about their Easter egg hunt that they had to do inside their Aunt Cassie's house. Like Aunt Stephanie had to help them find eggs because they were just like looking with their mouths, not with their eyes at all.
With their eyes. There's one sitting on top of the thermostat on the wall, like a bright purple Easter egg, just out in the open, like, and not that high up. And Buster's like looking at the wall, not seeing it. I'm like, bro, it's right there.
Vivian was great about sharing and making sure Gwen had plenty when they were a little younger. Now she's in the competitive phase, and so she's like, I got so many, and Gwen's like, I can't find where you have more than me. so we were trying to subtly point Gwen in the right direction, not give her outright help, but steadily be like, maybe you should look over by the window.
Our family avoids that by having a set number of eggs for each kid. Like you only get so many eggs because like Monster's so much older than all of his cousins that like even when he did participate, it was just he would have just dominated them.
Yeah.
I have 47 eggs. You have 2.
Yeah. Luckily our youngest sister is only a year older than Seth. So, until the last couple of years, he wasn't by himself. Like he would have been if our mother didn't have a child almost exactly a year before me. But yeah, like we got lucky with that part. But yeah. It was very apparent very soon after Christina started having her boys that, okay, we need to do this in groups and not all together.
Yeah, so we did groups for a long time. Now it's just down to 2 groups, and who knows, it'll be down to 1 group very soon. Just the littles, Cassie and Carly's babies. But yeah, I love Easter.
Yeah, we also had to search inside, hence the thermostat debacle.
Yeah.
The weather in Arkansas this weekend wasn't great.
No, let's hope for better weather next Easter. Let's hope for an earlier Easter, because I feel like it was the latest Easter has ever been. Like it's practically May. And I feel like I'd rather take a cold March Easter than a rainy, wet April Easter. Like that's kind of where I'm at in my 30s.
Every once in a while, Easter has been on my mom's birthday. And so that's like kind of fun. But I also am like, I wouldn't want to share my birthday with a holiday. Yeah, I don't know. Me and Catherine are both born 4 days away from a holiday, but they're minor holidays. Like I'm 4 days away from Valentine's Day, and Catherine's 4 days away from the 4th of July. So I don't know how they timed that, but somehow they did.
See, I like a good set holiday, like Valentine's Day, the 4th of July, Halloween. I like a good set holiday. These holidays that move on me, like ninjas, I just never remember when it's going to happen or what. No, I hate a moving holiday. If it's the second Tuesday or the fourth Thursday or the first Monday, no. And I don't even know how Easter works. I'm told it has to do with the moon.
Yeah, I have no clue. The calendar tells me.
All I know is that Jesus rose Easter Sunday, and Pope Benedict passed away later that night.
Right after an unfortunate.
So it was pretty terrible.
He had a beautiful final speech. Benedict had a beautiful final speech. And now Julia's seen Conclave, haven't you? So you know what happens next in the Catholic faith. So I wonder, where's our bets on where the next Pope is going to be from?
Not the U.S.
It's
Diet
never
Coke
the US.
in the Vatican. If we get a U.S. Pope, we're getting Diet Coke in the Vatican. That's all.
No, the one that you're going to start seeing propaganda for probably is someone, I want to say he's out of like St. Louis or somewhere. And he's a cardinal in the US, but he's like super alt-right, super like openly. So I'm super hoping that that's not the case, but I can't imagine it would be, considering the Pope's stance and what happened this weekend prior to his passing, but you never know.
So it'll be interesting to see where the next Pope comes from. So I'm interested. I hear that there's one from like Papua New Guinea. There's one from Sri Lanka. There's one from
so it's when they announce the new Pope, or when they decide the new Pope, that the white smoke comes out of the Vatican City, right?
Yes. So that'll be soon. Because they start immediately, don't they, Stephanie? Like the conclave is now formed and they start their decision making.
Yeah, and it's kind of like a jury. It can take any amount of time. There's no set time for them to choose. They can literally take a year if they want to. Not that they, to my knowledge, have ever taken that long, but they can take a couple days to a couple weeks. So,
and then he gets
the
to
movie
pick
was
his own
fascinating.
name, right? I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that they got to pick their own name. I just thought that they were like these popes all had like very popey names. I was like, we just never going to get a postmark. I was like, and then somebody was like, no, they picked their name. And I was like, oh, that makes so much more sense now.
These pope moms, they just know that their child's going to be pope.
They know they're going to be a pope.
They've worked with the conclave so long that they just know that, they're going to be popes. So they got to name them something popely. So like something like Francis Benedict the 17,000. Yeah.
There's a set list though that they choose from, right?
I believe so.
Because they're all like, there's like 5 or 6 names, I think.
That'll be super interesting to see where the next Pope comes from. I'm very excited. I love events like this, so we shall see. We shall see.
Well, not the death of somebody, but the organization of it all.
Ceremony
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I love the ceremony and stuff.
Did you see Pearl 5000, the TikTok guy?
Pearlman 5000. Pearlman 500 or whatever.
Did you see that his wife was like, and Trisha Paytas is pregnant again because apparently she had a baby right after Queen Elizabeth died. And now she's pregnant when the Pope died. They're like, she's collecting historical religious figures like Pokemon.
Because they're saying that her baby is
up
the
those souls.
Yeah.
She says that her baby is the reincarnate of Queen Elizabeth. That's what they're claiming. So this one will be the reincarnate of the Pope. If it's a boy, you know that they're going to feed into that like crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Like
she's going to name him Benedict or Francis.
I would name somebody.
Francis would be a rough name. Benedict is not bad. Francis is rough.
Yeah, but you can call him Frank and nobody would know. Or Frankie.
That's true. Anytime I think of Frank, I think of Frank the Pug. from Men in Black.
As you should.
Oh, as you should. I love that pug. That pug is amazing. So, how is this week started out at the school, Stephanie? Have all the kids, are they on a sugar high?
I don't know. I feel like they were pretty chill today. Maybe it's because I was pretty chill today, so I feel like they were pretty chill today. But I think they're just excited that it's springtime and they can actually get out of the house on the weekends. A lot of them have already gone swimming, and I'm like, you're crazy. Because it's not been anywhere near warm enough for long enough for that water to be above 30 degrees. Like, no, freaking cold. But yeah, no, everything's gearing up for the end of the year, so it feels like everything's hitting all at once. But other than that, it seems like it's going pretty good. If y'all see my shirt moving weirdly, it's because my Chewini Reese is inside my sweater. And he just keeps moving about. That's where he wants to be, but he just keeps moving. So my chest sometimes does this, and I'm like, guys, it's not me. It's not.
You didn't suddenly
those of you watching
independent usage
of my no, I have not. Yeah, it's in fact a 4-pound Chewini. So
no, my kids are like counting down the days until school ends, and I'm not counting down the days till school ends because then they're home with me. But I think this is the first year that they get out for Memorial Day and then they have to go back.
Yeah, so all the snow days. Yeah, because Arkansas elected a head of the Department of Education who's from Florida and who doesn't have things like snow. And so that individual took away our AMI days, which is, what is AMI?
I wondered. It's like virtual learning instead of, I don't remember what it stands for, but
it's something, I don't either. It's virtual learning where you have assignments and stuff at home, and it counts towards your school days. Well, he was like, you don't need that. Education's in the classroom. I said, but we're not in the classroom. We're just sitting at home. At least they could be at home. And even if it's an hour that they're spending on the computer, that's better than like nothing.
A complete day off.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were, I think we were out a day longer than Christina. So we go to like the 30th, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So
the kids go back after Memorial Day, and I think that's the first time that's ever happened. So, but then...
Yeah, well, it was originally going to be June for us. It was going to be June 3rd when we got out, but we're just taking some of our calendar days. For those of you who aren't watching, Reese has decided to pop his head
out of the net.
Like a freaking demon. What? You need to go back to sleep. I had him, like, he was just running around being good. Then he found gum randomly, and now I'm paranoid that he's going to find something more dangerous than gum. Oh, my gosh. Okay. Well, just have to chance it, because he's like, nap over. Nap over.
I just wasn't expecting that, and he just popped out. I don't know.
Like a daisy.
He's so cute.
Sometimes he's just a bud. All right, guys. Are y'all ready to talk about, some more Easter eggs?
Yes.
Let's talk about some Easter eggs.
Easter eggs.
Yeah. So we decided, since we're recording right after Easter, I know it's going to come out way after Easter, but we decided to do Easter eggs in movies. And I got put in charge of this because I do a lot of the nerdy stuff. So I have a big list of a bunch of different Easter eggs, and we're going to go through this and talk about if we remember them, if we've seen them, if we like them, anything like that. Okay? Or if you even realized it was an Easter egg.
I feel like that's my problem. I'm so surface level that I'm like, I don't know. Like, am I supposed to know something? Like the Taylor Swift Easter eggs, I think it's so fun that she does that. Way over my head.
See, and for me, I don't watch a lot of movies. And so mine is like, am I even going to catch the Easter egg? Because I watch one of the two movies necessary. And so I miss all the other Easter eggs from that other movie. So that happens a lot to me.
I will say you both have probably you should have seen a good chunk of this. Because I know, at least for Christina, I know a lot of the movies you have seen. And Julia, yeah. I've kind of separated. So we're going to start with our Pixar Disney movies, of course, because they are kind of our like big, they didn't start it by any means, but they have fully embraced the Easter egg culture. And so we have a lot of different ones we can go through. So let's start with A113. If you've seen a Pixar movie or like 90% of any of the animated films, you've probably seen this code or heard somebody say it, but especially in Pixar. And it's because it's one of the classrooms at CalArts where a ton of Pixar animators studied. So like all of our animators came out of this one room basically at CalArts.
Oh, that's so fun.
That's really cool.
Some of the movies that you will see it in is in Toy Story, Finding Nemo, Inside Out, The Incredibles, WALL-E, and even movies that aren't Pixar or Disney, like The Iron Giant and The Simpsons, have all referenced A113.
That's really cool. I think that's fun.
You know who should have referenced it and she didn't say? Did you say Monsters, Inc.?
I did not put Monsters, Inc. in here.
So
I was waiting for Julia, but she didn't say anything.
So Monsters, Inc. didn't reference 113, and I feel like they could have referenced it in like a
with
door.
All the doors, especially.
So, yeah, especially. So that is a missed opportunity, Pixar, for you to reference A113.
So speaking of Monsters,
they should have made that the code. 2319.
Yeah, 2319 sounds a lot better than A113.
A113.
Code A113. But speaking of Monsters, Inc., our next one is kind of a little bit more of a deep dive. By deep dive, I mean not very deep. But there's a huge theory and a bunch of Easter eggs in one of the scenes in Brave. Have both of you seen Brave?
Yes.
Do you want to guess what scene I'm talking about?
Is it in the witch's cabin?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So I think I've seen this and noticed this.
So the big theory is that Boo from Monsters, Inc. is actually the witch in Brave.
Okay.
So the reason why they say that is because her wood carvings of Sully and her disappearing doors that she has in her scenes and stuff are why they have theorized that Boo is the same character. So after being introduced to magical portals by Sully, Boo travels through time trying to find him, like time and space, trying to find her friend again.
Oh, that's sweet.
So eventually she becomes the witch in Brave. So there's some examples besides just the doors and her little carvings, though she does have a lot of carvings that have a lot of Easter eggs. So she has carvings of Sully's, and there's also a very notable, very popular carving of a figure from another Disney movie. Do you want to guess what it is?
My
Super
suspicion,
popular.
just because I know it comes up a lot, is the Pizza Planet truck.
Bingo. She has a carving like right in front of her of the Pizza Planet truck. It's super cute. So this is Boo leaving clues from her time travels, basically. It's all in the same universe. She also during
I do too, but does that mean that like all Pixar movies are in the same universe?
That's what it alleges.
Honestly, the Pizza Planet truck is in every Pixar movie, and that's from Toy Story.
It's everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is everywhere. So, another clue is that she mentions in Brave that she will be attending that she is attending a festival that doesn't exist during the time of Brave. So she says that she is going to be at the Wickerman Festival, and that's why she can't help Merida when Merida goes back the second time to find her. Well, the Wickerman Festival was held yearly in Scotland that celebrated music and art and other artistic events that ran from 2001 to 2015. Brave came out in 2012, so they think that is a reference to that.
Oh, okay. I love that Boo is connected to everything. I love Boo. That makes me want to see a grown-up Andy in another Pixar film, like a grown-up Andy in Inside Out 3 or something. That would be super cool to me.
Kitty.
So
Monsters Inc. will forever be my favorite like Pixar movie, but I love that they're connected. I love the Easter eggs.
Yeah, it is one of my favorite too. My all-time favorite Disney movie is Meet the Robinsons. So,
that's also primo. Excellent.
That is a really good one.
I got a big head and little arms. I don't know how well this was thought out.
Yes.
I met a kid one time who looks exactly like Goob when he was little. I was looking at this kid and I was like, you look like Goob. Are you going to turn into an evil henchman? Like, you look exactly like Goob. It was crazy.
Well, if Buster is this kid's best friend, then maybe.
True.
Because I'm sure Buster will do something to catalyze that. Circling back to Toy Story. So in Toy Story 3, we have a cameo from Sid. Is that right? You remember Sid?
Sid's my favorite. He had that little... Did you all realize that was a hooker? Did y'all realize that with the legs and the fish?
Yeah, but not until I was much older. Mm-hmm.
I love Sid.
So Sid, the creepy toy torturing kid from Toy Story. He makes a cameo as a trash man in Toy Story 3. He's still wearing that gold t-shirt.
Mm-hmm. Is he still wearing the shirt? 3, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Toy Story 3 was a little bit traumatizing for me. I'm not going to lie. I have not watched Toy Story 4 because I was like, I can't handle any more emotional scarring. So.
Oh my gosh. Toy Story 4 will scar the mess out of you. It will scar the mess out of you. Is Toy Story 3 the one where they all go to the daycare?
Yes.
Okay.
With that creepy bear.
Toy Story 4 is the one where they're with the little girl.
Yeah. And you meet Forky.
Yeah. See, I'm not watching that movie. I can't handle the emotional trauma that it's going to hang down.
Can't do it. Shows back up. It's trauma.
Are Barbie and Ken in 3? I think they are.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she's like a tour guide Barbie or whatever.
Yeah. She's in all of them, but Ken shows up in 3 because he lives at the daycare.
Let's see. Moving to The Little Mermaid. So during the big entrance scene for King Triton, if you pause it just right, you'll see a couple of characters that don't quite belong. Who do you think it is?
Tarzan's parents.
Well, since Tarzan came out like maybe 10 years after Little Mermaid, I don't think that's the right one.
I'm thinking of the Rapunzel and Tarzan. Yes. Not Rapunzel, the Anna and Elsa and Tarzan of it all. I don't know. Who is it? Who's there?
Goofy, Mickey, and Donald Duck.
No way!
They're all under the ocean. You have to pause it at just the right time to find them, but yeah, they're in there. It's crazy. It's kind of like you have to pause it just at the right time in Frozen to see Rapunzel going into the castle. Mm-hmm. Did both of you watch Big Hero 6?
Yes.
So it's also one of my favorite movies, and I've watched it so many times and never saw this, so I'm going to have to look for it the next time that I watch it. But in Big Hero 6, when Baymax and Hero are flying through the city, you can spot a billboard with a poster of Hans from Frozen. It's like a wanted poster.
That's great.
So that's why it's like, it's all interconnected. They're all together.
I think that's so great.
So, Finding Nemo has a small little Easter egg. I mean, it has several Easter eggs, but one that most people don't connect is that the shark named Bruce is actually named after a famous shark from what movie do you think?
Right off the top of my head, I'm like, da-dum, Jaws. But I don't know if that's right.
You would be correct. So, the mechanical shark that they used as the shark in Jaws was nicknamed Bruce. So it was a little nod to Steven Spielberg.
Did I ever tell you two that I've never seen Jaws? I thought I had seen Jaws, and me and Jason are having this conversation, and I was like, yeah, Jaws with LL Cool J. And he was like,
no, that's Deep Blue.
No,
Deep Blue Sea.
Deep Blue Sea. He's like, Jaws came out in like 1976. And I was like, no, it didn't. It had LL Cool J in it. And I had to look it up, and it turns out I've never seen Jaws. I've seen Deep Blue 6, and I thought it was Jaws my whole life. I did not realize Jaws was as old as it was. I should have with Steven Spielberg and all of the movies, like his heyday movies, E.T., all those movies, but I didn't. And so I have never seen Jaws. If we ever want to watch it together, I have, however, seen Deep Blue Sea.
Well, Jack was shocked that I don't like E.T.
I don't care for E.T. that much either. I don't hate it or dislike it. It's just never was my cup of tea.
If you think about it, it's nightmare fuel for children. It is nightmare fuel for children.
We were built different in the 80s, okay?
He looks both wet and dry at the same time somehow. He has a glowing finger. They tint an entire house. It's not a children's movie. So what more Easter eggs?
Okay, so getting back to it. Does anybody know who John Ratzenberger is?
He's Ham.
I know the name.
Mm-hmm.
He's Ham.
Oh,
yeah.
I know who. He has got a gray mustache.
He's from Cheers, where everybody knows
Cliff,
your name.
Yes. Cliff from Cheers, exactly. So he has voiced a character in every single Pixar movie. He's considered their lucky charm, and so he is in every single Pixar developed movie.
Is he alive or dead?
I believe he is still alive.
I think he's alive.
Let me double check.
I know that one of them passed away, and they AI'd his voice for the last Toy Story movie, but I don't know if it was John Ratzenberg or if it was.
No, he's still alive.
Okay. So maybe John Ratzenberg. Is he Ham? Is he Ham or is he Mr. Potato Head?
He is Ham.
Okay, so maybe Mr. Potato Head died and they AI'd his voice in.
Let me double check that, but I believe he is Ham. No,
he's Mr. Potato Head then,
he's Mr. Potato Head. Yeah, no, George Wendt was Ham. He's the heavier guy. George Wendt.
And they AI'd his voice in. Well, not AI. They pieced it from other movies in for the final Toy Story movie for Ham.
So in Wreck-It Ralph, we have, it's stuffed with a lot of video game nods. One of the best Easter eggs is during the villain group therapy, Street Fighter Zangief shows up and Mortal Kombat's finish him is shouted, and it is two most iconic franchises in one scene.
I would absolutely agree. When we were younger, that Mortal Kombat game was like pinnacle peak play, like finish him. Like that game was the stuff. So I loved it. I did catch that one in the show. Our kids did not, but I did catch that one.
So many good ones in Wreck-It Ralph. It's just built for people from like the 70s up.
Yeah. The little Pac-Man that come running through.
I love
that's one of my mom's favorite.
The older or the newer movies are referencing things for the parents who are watching them too, because they're like, we think of Pixar as like kids movies. I still to this day love a Pixar movie, and it's because there's so many great references like that and jokes for adults too. Love it.
Here it comes. So, not quite leaving Disney fully, but a little bit, we are going into comic book movies. As you know, Marvel is one of the big Easter egg contributors in our comic book movies. So a lot of these have to do with Marvel, the brand, Marvel MCU. But the one that you have to know about, if you don't know about, which I don't know how you wouldn't know about, is that Stan Lee shows up in almost every single Marvel movie, whether it is Disney or Sony or any other company that's doing one of his books movies. So I'm really sad that they're kind of over now. I think one of my most favorite comic book movies of all time is probably a lot of people's least favorite of the series or of the group of movies, but it's Batman. Is it Batman Forever with Batman and Robin and Batgirl and Iceman? Yeah, I love that one. Batman Forever. Me and Chris O'Donnell, we were just chilling together almost every single day after day for a very long time. Love that movie.
Batman had nipples on his costume.
Siri just said you're welcome. I don't know if y'all heard that, but that's anyway.
Welcome for nipples on a costume.
There were nipples on the costume. I'm sorry, they were there.
And nobody even
Batman's through the ages sometime.
Yeah, I think also what's funny about Batman Forever and why it's my favorite, it has nothing to do with Batman. I could care less about George Clooney in that whole entire movie. It's literally Robin and Batgirl and Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze. Like, it's just so good. I loved it. And you got Poison Ivy. Like, she is so cool. And Bane on top of that, it masterpiece.
I'm not going to lie. Anytime I think of Batman and Robin, my SpongeBob childhood heart thinks of Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy.
Barnacle Boy.
Yeah. Well, let's get back on track because I want to get through a few of these. Iron Man, the OG man. Tony Stark's lab has Captain America's shield just chilling in the background. It's broken, but it is sitting back there in his lab. And that was 2 years before Captain America, the movie, even came out. And then in Iron Man 2, you can spot Wakanda on a shield map 8 years before Black Panther was planned to hit theaters.
Those first phases are just so well planned out. Like, you can just see that they knew exactly what they were going to do through every phase. It's just so well planned out.
Yeah. Talking about James Gunn and his Guardians of the Galaxy, which also just love them. It's so funny. Mm-hmm. There's such a good mix of like comic book humor and like action movies on top of, like, you know what I mean?
Music,
it's such a good mix.
Top tier.
So good. So good. So there's an alien language called Kiln text on the walls in Guardians of the Galaxy. What walls? I don't know. I forgot to look it up. I just Googled this Easter egg. But James Gunn confirmed that it's a hidden message that no one has fully cracked yet. It's basically the Da Vinci Code, but with more raccoons.
Oh my gosh.
I'm assuming it's on the walls in the first scene with Peter as an adult where he's going to get the orb. You know, it's kind of like a abandoned city or whatever. I'm assuming that's where it's at. But yeah, with more raccoons. I just love that movie. All right. So X-Men, I have to this day so many X-Men comic books in my house currently. And this is specifically talking about X-Men Days of Future Past. This is my favorite Easter egg, probably because one, I noticed it, and two, I was like, I know what that's referencing. Because in Days of Future Past, they need a mutant who can get into a high secure facility to bust out Magneto, who has been imprisoned for hate crimes. Okay. Big shock. So during this conversation, while he's breaking out Magneto, Quicksilver mentions to Magneto, so metal's your thing. Like, he said something like that. Also played by one of the best actors of our age at this time. Okay. Evan Peters. And Magneto's like, yep. And he goes, weird. My mom once knew this guy who could control metal. And it's a little subtle nod to the fact that Magneto in the comic books is actually Scarlet Witch's and Quicksilver's biological father.
Oh, that's so neat.
Nice. I did not know that.
Going into our DC kindred spirits, okay, and Batman Begins, Gordon hands Batman a Joker playing card, a perfect tease for the villain for Dark Knight that came out next. And I'm going to tell you, I was part of that Mandela effect where I 100% thought that the card that they showed at the end of that movie was a question mark for the Riddler. I was convinced the Riddler was the next bad guy, not the Joker. Still not convinced that they just didn't want, that they just went into all the DVDs and changed it. Because I saw Begins in theaters, so like, how are we ever going to know? But yeah, totally had.
I did like the Dark Knight.
Oh yeah, it was so.
Because Batman's the coolest of all the superheroes.
So in Man of Steel, there is a scene where Henry Cavill's Superman is trying to learn how to fly, and he's making these massive leaps across Arctic terrain. And this is a nod to the last son of Krypton, who could not fly when he was first created in 1938. So in the early days, when he was part of Action Comics, the Max Fleischer Superman in his animated short saw Kal-El make huge leaps from building to building, not able to fly. So that was a little nod to his origins, basically, in the comics.
Would you like Superman better if he could or couldn't fly?
I like him flying. There's very few of them that can fly in the DC verse, so I like that he can fly.
Okay.
So, in Wonder Woman, the aristocratic German woman whose blue dress Diana steals to wear to the gala was actually Fausta Grabels, who was a DC Comics character who was also a villainess in the 1970s Wonder Woman TV series. So that actress was also the actress that she stole the dress from.
Oh,
that's fun. I like when older actors or actors from older versions make cameos. Yeah. I think that's fun.
Yeah, which also happened in Wonder Woman 1985, where the original Wonder Woman made her cameo in that movie. So that was pretty cool. So moving to more scary situations, some scary Easter eggs for us. I can tell you that I've never seen a Freddy Krueger movie. It was never my thing. I've seen Halloween. I've seen The Shining. I've seen a lot of horror movies. For some reason, Freddy Krueger just wasn't it for me. But in Evil Dead 2, there is a tool shed scene where you can spot Freddy Krueger's glove hanging on the wall, making it a nod to the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, where director Sam Raimi and Wes Craven had played back and forth of referencing each other in each of their movies. So Evil Dead director would do a nod towards the Nightmare on Elm Street director, back and forth.
That's cool. I like it when directors play off each other like that. That's super cool, especially in the same genre.
So have either of you seen Ready Player One?
No, I have not. It's on my list, but I've never seen it.
Oh, read the book and watched the movie. It's so good. Anyway, in Ready Player One, there's a whole sequence inside the Overlook Hotel from The Shining, complete with the terrifying Grady twins, the creepy hallway, and the infamous elevator of blood.
Not my jam. The Shining is not my jam.
So we're moving on to some Star Wars. We're just going to do a few of these because there are so many Star Wars. Like George Lucas, he really likes to just pop them in and out. So the Millennium Falcon shows up in Attack of the Clones, which, if you don't know, Attack of the Clones is pre the original 3 movies. Mm-hmm. So it's like, what are you doing here? Kind of thing. And because George Lucas helped create Indiana Jones, there is a nightclub in one of the movies that Indy escapes from in the opening scene called the Club Obi-Wan, which is a nod to Lucas's Jedi Master. J.J. Abrams, who I love his reboot of Star Trek. R2-D2 floats through wreckage during a space scene. It's very fast, but it's there. E.T., speaking of E.T., you see Yoda when E.T. is dressed up for Halloween and is walking around. You see E.T., and he reacts like he recognizes him.
Oh, they're aliens from different planets. I love it. That I love. Mm-hmm.
So that was Steven Spielberg's homage to Star Wars. And then later, during The Phantom Menace, which is one of the prequels, George Lucas returns the favor by including E.T. species in the Galactic Senate. So that's when I caught when I saw it the very first time. So you see all these different races and stuff, and they're in like this big building and stuff, and you see a section of it, and it's just full of E.T. kids.
He's such a creepy little dude. But for some reason in Star Wars verse, he's less creepy. Because I guess he stands out less.
He doesn't stand out as much.
Jabba the Hutt, and there's like all these weird, creepy, like gross ones. So he's out creepied in Star Wars.
Yeah.
So in some random, like, they don't really fit into any genres. In Fight Club, there's a Starbucks cup in every scene. So director David Fincher said it was a subtle jab to consumerism, which is ironic because he's making a movie.
Product placement.
Yeah.
In Predator 2, we have a scene in the Predator's trophy room, and you can see a xenomorph skull from Alien, which kicked off the decades worth of fan theories that there was going to be an Alien Predator movie, which eventually happened. 10, 20 years later. Yeah. And Back to the Future, the mall is first called Twin Pines Mall, but after Marty runs over one of the pines in the past, the sign changes to Lone Pine Mall.
That's so neat. That's fun.
In Scott Pilgrim versus the World, it's packed with sound effects from The Legend of Zelda. Scott Pilgrim versus the World randomly is one of our dad's favorite movies. And
I would not have guessed that.
So, yeah, no. He loved it. So The Legend of Zelda, Nintendo gave Edgar Wright special permission to use them. So they are used constantly to indicate emotion, scene changes, and score pop-ups. So that's pretty cool. In Shaun of the Dead, Ed being one of the main characters, he literally outlines the entire movie's plot during an early pub conversation describing what they'll do the next day. So he just tells the whole, like, you can end the movie at that point. Yeah. And then I've got quite a few from one of our favorite writer and directors, from Kevin Smith. I've got quite a few Easter eggs here, who loves to add Easter eggs about his own movies in his movies. So we have, well, first, Jay and Silent Bob are a reoccurring theme in almost every single one of his movies. At one point in Clerks 3, Jay and Silent Bob return a movie to Randall that they claim they have had since 1994. So that's the year that Clerks came out. And the tape that they are returning is a tape that one of the customers was waiting to rent when Randall showed up late to work. It was called The Dental School. Also, most of these are from Clerks 3. So there were some in like Dogma and everything, but it's kind of easier if they're all in the same movie. Randall recruits Dante to be his producer and tells him that he needs about $25,000 to make Clerks, because Randall is like Kevin Smith, who's Silent Bob, and he wants to make a movie about Clerks and Silent Bob. Anyway, that's a loop. So anyway, he tells him he needs $25,000 to make Clerks. Then he gets more specific. He says he needs $27,575,000 or $7,500. So that's the exact amount Kevin Smith spent creating the first Clerks. So he paid for that whole movie by charging things to credit cards and selling his comic book collection.
Yep.
Can you even imagine? I love Kevin Smith. He's so down to earth and crazy. Yeah. Anyway, when Randall and Dante hold auditions for their movie, the actors who are the who's who of Kevin Smith alumni, including Ben Affleck, Ralph Garman, and Ethan Suplee, reprising his role as Willem, the dude from Mallrats who can't see the hidden sailboat in the magic eye picture. And based on the audition in the movie, he still hasn't let that go. He brings it up. It's pretty funny. So that is all of the Easter eggs that I have for us. I think they were really funny.
I love a good Easter egg. I think my favorite ones were the Kevin Smith ones, just because he has a special place in my heart.
It's true.
I'm surprised you didn't do any
Pixar ones.
I'm surprised you didn't do any Psych Easter eggs.
Well, Psych's Easter eggs are the pineapple,
mostly,
we've mentioned before.
Yeah. And you also did mostly movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fun. So it's time for the Rec Room.
Welcome to the Rec Room.
So who wants to wreck first tonight?
I can wreck first.
Oh, go wreck first, Stephanie. Go ahead.
I want to wreck the band Ghost. They are a pretty well-known band, but they're fairly new to me. They got a cool vibe, so you can catch them anywhere. I don't know what to say about them. They kind of remind me of like a 80s, early 90s kind of band. Like their sound is kind of like that. Kind of rocky.
Genre, are they like pop, rock? Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But one of their most famous songs is Mary on a Cross. You've probably heard it on somewhere. It's pretty popular, but yeah, they're pretty fun. I like them a lot. I also know that I think it's the lead singer of Ghost, is a huge true crime fan, and specifically Jack the Ripper. And so I'm kind of curious. I need to find out if he's got a podcast or something where he's like giving us his reaction to, because he had a lot of theories about Jack the Ripper.
Okay.
Did you see that recently they said that they found evidence of who Jack the Ripper was?
Identified who it was. They're like DNA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I told
Crazy.
Stephanie that it was in that moment I realized his name wouldn't be Jack. Like, they didn't know who it was. They named him Jack. It was in the moment that they said Paul that I went, you freaking moron. His name's not Jack.
Yeah. I just looked at her. I didn't even know what to say. I was like,
I don't know what to
this
say.
Is worse
either.
than the Carl and Keith Urban mix up, like of 20.
Oh,
That's a pretty
16,
good
2017? Like,
That's a pretty good one. Yeah.
Pretty big mix up there.
I know. So I'm going to wreck a book, and my wreck is Allie Hazelwood's Deep End. It's her newest release. It came out a couple months ago. It's a swimming book. It's very spicy. It is not mom approved. So it is very, very good. It is about a diver and a swimmer who both compete at national NCAA level competition. So they both go to Stanford University, compete. He competes for an Olympic team. They go into that a lot. I don't know how much she knows about swimming. It seemed very well researched and well thought out. The book was incredibly good. It's my first Allie Hazelwood. I've never read any of her STEMinist series, which is what they call her series with, that focuses, but there was a nod to it. There was an Easter egg. That's why I decided to wreck tonight, because there's an Easter egg to her STEMinist series in that book. And so I didn't get to enjoy it, but people who had read her backlist, and now my plan is to read her backlist. So I'm very excited. It's called Deep End by Allie Hazelwood. It's a super good romance book. If you're okay with spice, I'll be completely honest. If you're okay with spice, there is quite a bit of spice in the book.
Well, my wreck is not Easter egg related, but it is also a band like Stephanie's. So they're called Tours, Tors, and they're a band. It's a trio of British brothers. I found them on TikTok. I'm a big fan. Their names are Matt, Theo, and Jack. They're kind of folk indie music. Yeah. But yeah, they're really great. Their most popular song is called Anything Can Happen. It's kind of a feel-good anthem. But their debut album, The Family, came out in March 2024, so just a little over a year ago. But great music. The song that they've been really kind of pushing on TikTok lately is called Dying Stars, and it's just beautiful. I'm just a big fan. I started following them recently on TikTok, and I think you should check them out. So they're called Tors, Tors. So yeah,
awesome.
That's so cool.
Sounds good.
Thanks for hanging out with us today. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and connect with us on social media at Don't Quit Your Day Job Pod. We'd love to hear your thoughts on what you're currently reading, watching, or listening to. Until next time, keep it cozy, keep it fun, and don't quit your day job unless you really want to. Bye!
I got a good feeling. I got a good feeling. Yeah, I love this life and I'm living it up. You can't stop